The con man found a planet where all the aliens were honest and became rich overnight. But days later, I should have died in that escape pod. Instead, I crashed on a planet where lying was impossible. And that's when I became the richest man in the galaxy. The warning lights were screaming. My stolen ship was falling apart around me. 3 days earlier, I'd conned a Vraxian crime lord out of 50 million credits. Now, his fleet was turning my ride into scrap metal. I punched the escape pod release. The universe spun. And then everything went black. When I woke up, I was staring at the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Eyes like liquid mercury. She was leaning over me, her face inches from mine, and she said something that made no sense at all. "You are injured. Your vessel is destroyed. You will require medical assistance. I find your facial structure aesthetically pleasing." I blinked. Did she just call me hot while diagnosing my injuries? Where am I? You are on Verithan Prime. I am Saraline, Council Arbiter. You are the first human to arrive on our world in 17 cycles. Your presence is highly irregular. I am experiencing an elevated heart rate in your proximity. She said it all in the same flat, clinical tone, like she was reading a grocery list. I sat up, wincing. My ribs were bruised, but not broken. Lucky. Thanks for the rescue. I should probably get going. You cannot leave. Your ship is irreparable. We have no vessels capable of interstellar travel. You are stranded here indefinitely. I am pleased by this outcome. The way she said it, completely emotionless, made my skin crawl. You're pleased I'm stranded? Yes, I find you attractive. I wish to pursue reproductive compatibility assessment. My brain short-circuited. Did this alien woman just proposition me with the emotional range of a robot? Lady, I appreciate the directness, but I am not being direct by choice. I am Verithan. We are genetically incapable of deception. All statements I make are factual. I am indeed sexually attracted to you. This is causing me significant discomfort as I have never experienced this intensity of attraction before. I stared at her. She stared back. Her expression never changed. And that's when I realized something terrifying and wonderful. She couldn't lie. None of them could. 2 days later, I was walking through the capital city of Verithan Prime, and I'd never seen anything like it. Towering crystal spires, streets that hummed with energy. But the people? They were all like Saraline, beautiful, efficient, and brutally, horrifyingly honest. I watched a street vendor tell a customer, "This fruit is overripe. I am overcharging you because I need to meet my quota." I feel mild guilt about this. The customer bought it anyway. I saw a couple arguing in the street. The man said, "I no longer find you physically attractive. Your personality has become tedious. I am considering ending our partnership." She replied, "I have been unfaithful with your brother." Twice. They walked away in opposite directions. No drama, no lies, just truth. It was the most disturbing thing I'd ever witnessed. Siralin brought me to the council chamber that evening. Apparently, my arrival was a big deal. 5 council members sat in a semicircle, all of them studying me like I was a specimen. The head counselor, an older woman with white hair and sharp features, spoke first. "Human, you have arrived during a critical juncture in our society. Our inability to deceive has made us vulnerable in galactic commerce. We lose every negotiation. We are exploited by species who can manipulate truth. We require assistance." I leaned back in my chair, sensing opportunity. "What kind of assistance?" "We wish to hire you as a diplomatic consultant. You will teach us how to navigate interactions with deceptive species. In return, we will provide you with housing, resources, and compensation." How much compensation? We will pay you 10,000 credits per standard month. I laughed. I couldn't help it. 10,000. Lady, I just lost 50 million in that crash. 10,000 won't even cover my bar tab. The counselor's expression didn't change. You are lying. Humans do not consume 10,000 credits worth of alcohol monthly. This is a negotiation tactic. I find it fascinating and uncomfortable. Oh, this was going to be fun. You're right. I'm lying. Here's the truth. I'm a con artist, a thief, a master manipulator, and you just admitted you need exactly what I'm good at. So let's renegotiate. I want 1 million credits per month, plus housing, plus full diplomatic immunity. The council members looked at each other. One of them, a younger male, spoke up. This is extortion. We should refuse. You should, I agreed, but you won't, because I'm the only human on this planet, and without me, you'll keep getting robbed blind by every other species in the galaxy. Silence. Then the head counselor nodded. Your assessment is accurate. We accept your terms. You will begin immediately. I smiled. This was almost too easy. Over the next 3 months, I became the most powerful human in the sector. The Verithan government paid me a fortune to attend trade negotiations, diplomatic summits, and business meetings. My job? Lie for them, bluff for them, manipulate on their behalf. And I was brilliant at it. I renegotiated their mining contracts, tripling their profits. I bluffed a Korvath warlord into retreating from their border. I convinced a galactic banking consortium to lower their interest rates by 40%. The Verithan people worshipped me. I was their champion, their savior, the human who could do what they couldn't. And the women? God, the women. Turns out, when an entire species is incapable of playing hard to get, dating becomes very straightforward. They'd walk up to me and say things like, I find you attractive. I wish to engage in sexual activity. My dwelling is 12 minutes away. No games, no drama, just pure, honest desire. I was living like a king, money, power, beautiful alien women who couldn't hide their intentions. It was perfect until it wasn't. It started with Sarah Lynn. She'd been assigned as my personal liaison, which meant we spent almost every day together. And somewhere along the way, something shifted. She showed up at my apartment one evening, unannounced. She looked different. Nervous, maybe. As nervous as a Verithan could look. I need to inform you of something. Sure, come in. She stepped inside, but didn't sit. Just stood there, staring at me. I have developed strong emotional attachment to you. This attachment has progressed beyond physical attraction. I believe I am experiencing what humans call love. This is causing me extreme distress because I am aware you do not reciprocate these feelings. You engage with multiple partners and show no preference for exclusivity. I am confessing this because I am required to speak truth, even when it causes me pain. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. She'd just laid her heart out, completely unprotected because she had no choice. And I realized something terrible. I didn't love her back. I liked her. I enjoyed her company. But love, number. I was here for the money, the lifestyle, the game. But I couldn't tell her that, not when she was looking at me like that. So I did what I do best. I lied. Sarah-Lene, I care about you too. I just need time to process everything. This is all moving fast. Her expression shifted. Relief, maybe? Hope. You are being truthful? Yes. She smiled. Actually smiled. It was the first time I'd seen real emotion on a Verithan face. Thank you. I will wait for you to process your feelings. I am content with this outcome. She left, and I stood there, feeling like the worst human being in the galaxy. But I buried it. Because the money was too good. The life was too good. I could handle a little guilt. 6 months in, I was a billionaire. The Verithan government had made me their chief diplomatic strategist. I had a penthouse overlooking the Crystal Spires. I had 3 different women visiting me on rotation. I had everything. Then the message came. A Korvath delegation was arriving for final treaty negotiations. Big deal. Massive trade agreement. Billions of credits on the line. And I was the key to making it happen. The lead negotiator was a woman named Kravesh, tall, scarred, with eyes that could cut through steel. She walked into the conference room like she owned it. The Verithan Council sat on one side. I sat on the other, ready to play my part. Kravesh leaned back in her chair and smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. So, you're the human everyone's talking about, the liar. Diplomat, I corrected. Same thing. She pulled out a datapad and slid it across the table. Before we begin, I have a question. Were you or were you not wanted by the Vraxian Syndicate for fraud? My blood went cold. That's irrelevant to... Answer the question. Because if you're a wanted criminal, this entire treaty is void. The Verithan government would be harboring a fugitive, and that would be problematic. The council members turned to look at me. Sarah Lean was sitting in the corner, her face pale. I had 3 choices. 1, tell the truth, admit I'm a criminal, lose everything. 2, lie, bluff my way through, risk Kravesh having proof. 3, flip the table, go on the offensive, make this about her instead of me. I chose option 3. You're right, I'm wanted by the Vraxians. But here's what you're not mentioning, Kravesh. Your government hired me 2 years ago to run a smuggling operation on the Outer Rim. I know things your superiors wouldn't want public. It was a complete bluff. I had no idea if it was true. But her expression flickered, just for a second. Gotcha. You're lying, she said. Am I? Because I have documents, names, coordinates, and if this treaty falls apart, I'll have no reason to keep those secrets. The room went silent. Kravesh stared at me. I stared back. Finally, she laughed. You've got guts, human. Fine, we'll proceed with the treaty. But you and I need to have a private conversation afterward. The negotiations continued. The treaty was signed. The Verithan Council was ecstatic. But afterward, Kravesh cornered me in the hallway. That was a hell of a bluff. Who says it was a bluff? I do. Because if you actually had evidence, you would have used it already. You're good, human. But you're not that good. She stepped closer. Here's the truth. I don't care about your past, but my government does, and they're sending someone to collect you. You've got maybe 3 days before an extraction team arrives. My stomach dropped. Why are you telling me this? Because I admire creativity, and because watching you squirm is entertaining. Good luck, liar. She walked away, leaving me standing in the empty hallway. I had 3 days. 3 days to figure out how to escape a planet with no ships. 3 days before I lost everything. And the worst part? I couldn't tell anyone the truth. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through scenarios. I could try to steal a ship, but the Verithan didn't have any. I could call in a favor. But from who? I'd burned every bridge getting here. There was a knock at the door. Sarah Lean. She looked different, determined. I know you are in danger. Sarah Lean, it's fine. Do not lie to me. I overheard your conversation with Kravesh. You are being hunted. You will be captured. You will likely be executed. Her voice cracked, just slightly. I cannot allow this. There's nothing you can do. There is. I can help you escape. I can access restricted government files. I can find a way off this planet. I stared at her. Why would you do that? If you help me, you'll lose everything, your position, your status, maybe your freedom. She looked at me with those mercury eyes. Because I love you, and love requires sacrifice, even when it is not reciprocated. Guilt crashed over me like a wave. She knew. She'd always known I didn't love her back, but she was offering to destroy her life anyway. Sarah Lynn, I can't let you do that. You do not have a choice. I have already made my decision. I looked at Saralin standing in my doorway, offering to throw away everything for me, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Shame. You can't do this, I said quietly. They'll destroy you. I am aware of the consequences. I have calculated the probabilities. There is an 87% chance I will be imprisoned, a 43% chance of permanent exile, a 12% chance of execution for treason. She said it like she was reading a weather report. And you're still willing to help me? Yes, because the alternative is watching you die, and that outcome is unacceptable to me. I ran my hands through my hair. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to take the offer, to use her, to save myself like I always did. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way she looked at me. Maybe it was the months of watching these people live without the armor of lies I'd worn my entire life. Or maybe I was just tired of being the guy who always ran. Saralin, sit down. I need to tell you something. She sat on the edge of my couch, perfectly still, waiting. I lied to you. 6 months ago, when you told me you loved me, I said I cared about you too. That was a lie. I didn't love you. I was using you, using all of you. I came here to get rich and get out. That's all this ever was. I expected anger, hurt, something. But she just nodded. I know. You... what? I have always known. You are not difficult to read, Marcus. You smile with your mouth, but not your eyes. You say caring things, but your body language contradicts you. I am Verithan. We may not be able to lie, but we are exceptionally skilled at detecting lies in others. It is a survival mechanism. My mouth went dry. If you knew, why did you... Because I hoped you might change, because I believed that exposure to truth might transform you, and because love does not require reciprocation to be real. She stood up. But now you face actual consequences. Now you must make a real choice. And I wish to see what kind of man you truly are. Before I could respond, alarms screamed through the building. Red lights flooded my apartment. Sarah Lean's communicator crackled to life. A voice spoke in rapid Verithan. Her face went pale. They are here. 2 days early, a Vraxian extraction team has entered orbit. They are demanding your immediate surrender. Damn it, she grabbed my arm. We must move. Now, I have accessed the restricted files. There is one ship capable of leaving this planet, a prototype in the military research facility. It has never been tested. There is a 68% chance it will explode on launch. Better odds than staying here. We ran. The streets were chaos. Verithan security forces were everywhere, sealing off districts, checking identification. But Saralin knew every back alley, every hidden passage. She'd lived in this city her entire life. We made it to the research facility just as the sun was setting. The building was massive, all black glass and steel. Guards stood at every entrance. How do we get past them? I whispered. We do not. I will create a diversion. You will enter through the maintenance tunnels. What kind of diversion? She didn't answer, just walked straight toward the main entrance. I watched from the shadows as she approached the guards. They recognized her immediately. She was a council arbiter after all. High clearance. total authority. And then she said something that made my blood run cold. I am harboring a fugitive. The human Marcus Chen is in Sector 7. I have been aiding his escape. I am guilty of treason against the Verithan Council. I surrender myself for immediate arrest. The guards froze. One of them spoke into his communicator. Within seconds, more security poured out of the building. Saralin had just destroyed herself, confessed to crimes she'd committed because of me, and she'd done it to give me a chance. I wanted to run to her, to stop this, but she'd turned her head slightly, meeting my eyes for just a second. Her expression was clear. Go. I ran. The maintenance tunnels were dark and cramped. I crawled through ducts, squeezed through service corridors, followed the blueprint Saralin had uploaded to my datapad. Every second felt like an eternity. Finally, I emerged into a massive hangar bay. And there it was. The prototype ship. Sleek, angular, covered in warning labels in 3 different languages. It looked like it was held together with hope and desperation. Perfect. I climbed into the cockpit. The controls were alien but intuitive enough. I'd flown worse. The engines hummed to life. The hangar doors were sealed. I'd need to override them. That's when I heard the voice behind me. Going somewhere? I spun around. Kravesh stood at the hangar entrance, flanked by 4 heavily armed Vraxian soldiers. You're persistent, I said. It's a professional requirement. She walked closer, her hand resting on her weapon. Here's how this plays out, Marcus. You come with us quietly. Face trial for your crimes. Maybe you survive, maybe you don't. Or you try to fly that death trap and explode in the atmosphere. Either way, this ends tonight. There's a third option, which is, I bargain. She laughed. Actually laughed. You've got nothing left to bargain with. Wrong. I've got information, real information this time, about the Verithan military network, their defense protocols, trade routes, technology, everything I learned in 6 months as their chief diplomatic strategist. Her eyes narrowed. You'd betray them? After everything? I'm a survivor, Kravesh, and survivors do what they have to. It was a bluff, a desperate, stupid bluff. I had no intention of selling out the Verithan people. But I needed time. Just a few more seconds. Kravesh considered it. Then she nodded to her soldiers. Restrain him. We'll discuss terms on the ship. The soldiers moved forward, and that's when the hangar exploded. Not literally, but close. The doors burst open. Verithan security forces poured in, dozens of them, led by someone I never expected to see. Saralin. She should have been in custody. She should have been locked up. Instead, she was here, armed with half the Verithan military behind her. You are in violation of Verithan sovereignty, she announced. Leave immediately or face immediate neutralization. Kravesh's hand moved to her weapon. The council authorized your arrest. You have no authority here. The council is no longer in power. As of 17 minutes ago, they have been removed by emergency tribunal. I have been appointed interim security director, and my first act is declaring this human under Verithan protection. My jaw dropped. She'd orchestrated a coup in less than an hour just to save me. Kravesh looked at her soldiers, then at Saralin's forces. The math wasn't in her favor. This isn't over, she growled. I agree. But it is over for tonight. The Vraxians retreated. Slowly. Weapons still drawn, but they retreated. The moment they were gone, Saralin collapsed. I rushed to her side. How did you? I told the truth. I confessed to helping you, but I also confessed that the council had been taking bribes from off-world cartels, that they had been exploiting our inability to lie for personal profit, that they had been betraying our people for years. Was that true? Yes. I had suspected for months, but lacked proof. Your datapad contained the evidence I needed. You had been documenting everything, probably for leverage. I used it to expose them. I stared at her. I'd been gathering dirt on the council as insurance, never thinking anyone would actually use it. You saved me by destroying your own government. I saved us both by exposing corruption. There is a difference. She looked up at me. But now you must make a choice, Marcus. The ship is functional. You can leave, return to your old life, or you can stay. Help us rebuild, become something more than a con artist. I looked at the ship, then at her, then at the Verithan soldiers standing around us, waiting. For 6 months, I'd been playing a game, using these people, taking their money, living like a king. But Saraline had never played games. She'd loved me honestly, sacrificed for me completely, given me more truth than I'd ever given anyone in my entire life. And I realized something. I was tired of running. I'll stay, but on one condition. Name it. No more lies, not from me, not from anyone. If I'm staying, I'm doing it honestly. She smiled. That rare, genuine smile I'd only seen once before. Agreed. The next 6 months were brutal. Rebuilding a government is hard enough. Rebuilding one based on absolute truth is nearly impossible. But we did it. The new council was smaller, more transparent. I served as their human liaison, teaching them not how to lie, but how to recognize when others were lying, how to protect themselves without compromising their nature. And Saraline? She became prime arbiter, the youngest in Verithan history. We worked together every day, and slowly something changed in me. I stopped seeing her as a mark, stopped seeing the Verithan people as easy targets. I started seeing them as they really were. Brave, vulnerable, struggling to survive in a galaxy built on deception. One night, 3 months after the coup, Saraline and I were alone in the council chambers, reviewing trade agreements. She set down her datapad and looked at me. I need to tell you something. Go ahead. I no longer love you. The words hit harder than I expected. Oh, I loved the idea of you, the potential I saw, but I have come to understand that love based on potential is not real love. It is fantasy, and I refuse to live in fantasy. She stood up. However, I have developed strong respect for you, admiration for your growth, and genuine friendship. These feelings are sustainable and honest. I prefer them to my previous emotional state. I should have been relieved, should have been happy to be off the hook. Instead, I felt loss. Saraline, I do not apologize. You have become a better person. That is sufficient. We are partners, colleagues, friends. That is valuable. She left, and I sat there, alone, realizing I'd just been broken up with by someone who'd never technically been with me in the first place. But the worst part? She was right. She'd loved a fantasy, and I'd never given her anything real. Until now. 2 weeks later, I did something I'd never done before. I told the complete truth. I requested a private meeting with Saraline. She arrived at my apartment, professional and distant. You required my presence? Yeah, I need to tell you something, and it's going to sound insane, but it's true. She sat down, waiting. When you said you loved me 6 months ago, I lied. You know that. But what you don't know is that somewhere along the way, things changed. I started actually caring, not because it was convenient, not because it helped me, but because you're the most remarkable person I've ever met. I took a breath. You sacrificed everything for someone who'd done nothing but use you. You toppled a government to save a con artist. You taught me what honesty actually means. And I think I'm falling in love with you. For real this time. Sarah Lean's expression didn't change, but her hands resting on her lap trembled slightly. You are being truthful. Yes, this is inconvenient. I know. I have spent considerable effort training myself not to love you. This information disrupts that progress. I know. I'm sorry. She stood up, paced, then turned to face me. I require time to process this. I will not make decisions based on emotional impulse. I have learned that lesson. Take all the time you need. She left, and I waited. 3 days passed, the longest 3 days of my life. Then she showed up at my door at midnight. I have completed my assessment. And I am willing to pursue a relationship with you under specific conditions. Name them. First, complete honesty. Always. No exceptions. Agreed. Second, you will undergo formal psychological evaluation to ensure your emotional development is genuine and sustainable. Agreed. Third, if at any point I determine this relationship is unhealthy for either of us, we terminate it immediately without resentment. Agreed. She stepped closer. Fourth, you will kiss me now because I have been standing here for 2 minutes working up the courage to ask, and it is causing me significant anxiety. I laughed. Actually laughed. And then I kissed her. It was nothing like the casual encounters I'd had before. This was different, real, terrifying, and perfect at the same time. When we pulled apart, she looked up at me. This feeling is uncomfortable. Love usually is. I do not enjoy being vulnerable. Nobody does. Yet I am choosing it anyway. Yeah, that's called bravery. She smiled. Then I suppose we are both brave. And both fools. Works for me. 1 year later, I stood in front of the Verithan Council as they officially recognized me as a citizen. No more fugitive. No more con artist. Just Marcus Chen, human, truth teller, partner to the prime arbiter. Sarah Lean stood beside me, holding my hand. In public. Which, for a Verithan, was basically a marriage announcement. After the ceremony, we walked through the crystal gardens overlooking the city. Do you regret it? She asked. Giving up your old life? Every day, I admitted. She looked alarmed. But then I wake up next to you. And I remember that the old life was empty. It was all flash and no substance. This is real. You have become aggressively sentimental. Yeah, it's disgusting. I blame you. She laughed, that beautiful, rare sound that still surprised me every time. Marcus? Yeah. I love you. Present tense, genuinely, without reservation. I love you too. You are certain? You are not simply saying what you believe I wish to hear? I'm certain, and I can prove it. How? I pulled out a small box. Inside was a ring. Not expensive, not flashy, just simple and honest. Marry me. Not because it's convenient, not because it helps my citizenship status, but because I want to spend the rest of my life being honest with the only person who ever made me want to be better. Her eyes widened, then filled with tears. This is manipulation. You are using my emotional vulnerability against me. Absolutely. Is it working? Yes, I accept your proposal. This is highly illogical, and I am completely comfortable with that fact. I slipped the ring on her finger. She stared at it like it was the most precious thing in the universe. I have a confession, she said quietly. What? I have been planning to propose to you for 3 weeks. You have ruined my carefully prepared speech. Sorry. No, you are not. No, I'm not. We stood there, two people from different worlds, built on different truths, finding something neither of us expected. Home. 6 months later, the Vraxian Syndicate sent another extraction team. But this time, they weren't after me. They were after the new trade agreement I'd negotiated, the one that made Verithan Prime a protected world under galactic coalition law, the one that made me untouchable. Kravesh herself delivered the message. "You've become inconvenient, Marcus. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Don't get cocky. You've made powerful enemies. I've also made powerful allies." She studied me for a moment. "You're different. Last time I saw you, you were a scared con artist. Now you look like someone with something to lose." "I am. And I'm not losing it. Then I guess we're done here." She turned to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth?" "You did good, human. Most people in your position would have sold out the Verithan in a heartbeat. You didn't. That counts for something." After she left, Seraline found me on the balcony. "You are troubled." "Just thinking about choices, about who I was and who I am now. And I like who I am now better, even if it's harder." She wrapped her arms around me. "I prefer this version as well, though the previous version had superior fashion sense. Brutal. Honest? Yeah, honest." We stood there, watching the sun set over the crystal spires, and I realized something. I'd spent my whole life running from the truth, hiding behind lies and cons and empty charm. But the truth had caught me anyway, trapped me on a planet where lying was impossible, forced me to become someone real. And in the process, I'd found something I never knew I was missing, a reason to stop running. 3 years later, I held my daughter for the first time, half human, half Verithan. She had my eyes and Seralin's silver skin. And when she looked up at me, I saw the future, a future where humans and Verithan worked together, where truth and deception found balance, where a con artist became a father. Seraline leaned against me, exhausted but smiling. "She is perfect. She's going to be a handful. She has your genetics. That is inevitable. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Always honest." Our daughter made a sound, not quite a cry, not quite a laugh, just pure, unfiltered existence. And I realized that's what truth really was, not the absence of lies, but the presence of something real, something worth protecting. I'd come to this planet as a thief, a liar, a man with no home and no purpose. But I was leaving that person behind because the truth had set me free, and love had made me whole.